Welcome to Chapter 4 of Real Estate Investing 101. In this episode titled, Finding Deals, Where to Look and What to Avoid, we're diving into the essential resources for uncovering those hidden rental property gems. Get ready to learn where to find the best deals and what pitfalls to steer clear of. Let's get started. About a quarter of small investors say their best rental deal never hit a public listing site. You're scrolling through polished online listings. Meanwhile, a quiet off-market duplex sells down the street. Why did they see it and you didn't? That gap is where real money is made. According to NAR, 97% of buyers now start online, yet many solid rentals never trend, never get glossy photos, and never rack up saves. They change hands quietly because the buyer was prepared, fast, and skeptical enough not to fall for pretty numbers. Digital tools are powerful, but they also create a crowded front door where everyone chases the same obvious listings. In this episode, we'll widen your field of vision, where serious investors actually find deals, how they filter them, and what they sidestep. We'll look at MLS alerts, niche platforms, agent relationships, wholesalers, even direct-to-owner outreach, and contrast them with traps like negative leverage, inflated pro formas, and properties that only pencil out if everything goes perfectly. Think of this as learning which aisles of the store hold real nourishment and which are just eye-level junk. Online search is now table stakes, not an edge. The edge comes from how you use it and what you layer on top. Public listings are like the appetizer menu, easy to access, rarely the main course. Serious investors combine fast digital screening with slow, deliberate local research. They track neighborhood vacancies, study rent rolls instead of headlines, and walk blocks at different times of day. They talk to property managers, code enforcement officers, and contractors to hear what numbers can't say. In this episode, we'll zoom out from where do I click to how do I plug into the local deal flow at all? Most investors browse listings reactively. Something pops up, they click, they daydream. The ones who consistently land profitable rentals treat finding deals as a system with three parallel pipelines: public, relationship-based, and self-generated. Public is everything the 97% are already using: MLS, syndication sites, auction portals. Your edge here isn't access, it's speed and discipline. Set filters tight enough that every alert is a real candidate, then force each address through the same quick screen: rough cap rate, likely rents versus debt costs, and obvious deal killers, weird zoning, floodplain, impossible layouts. If it passes, you move to a deeper look. If not, it's gone in under 2 minutes. The goal is not to consider every listing. It's to say no as fast as possible to almost all of them. Relationship-based deal flow is slower to build but often richer. Ask agents, lenders, and property managers which owners seem tired of dealing with that building, or what's been sitting too long because buyers are missing something fixable. People close to the ground know which properties have lingering smell but solvable problems: poor management, under-market rents, sloppy listings with bad photos. When they trust you to close, you'll hear about those before they're widely shopped. Self-generated deals come from your own pattern recognition. Instead of sending thousands of generic letters, choose one or two micro areas and become the unofficial historian. Track which buildings change hands. Watch for repeatedly boarded windows, overgrown yards, or "for rent" signs that never disappear. That often signals owners who might trade tomorrow's hassle for today's certainty. As you feed all three pipelines, build a parallel system for what to avoid. Any deal that only works if you ignore realistic CapEx reserves, vacancy, or maintenance is a pass. Treat glossy rent projections like a restaurant menu photo. Useful for orientation, but never proof of what actually arrives on the plate. Your numbers should be built from current leases, market comps, and conservative assumptions, not marketing. Think of your three pipelines like a good kitchen line. One station preps ingredients, public leads, another handles custom orders, relationship leads, and a third experiments with new recipes, self-generated leads. You're the chef deciding what actually hits the plate. For public deals, your taste test might be, does this still make sense if rents are 5% lower and expenses 10% higher than my first guess? If it turns bitter under that mild stress, you push it off the pass. With relationship deals, the key is plating reliability. Agents and managers need to see you respond quickly, ask sharp questions, and not ghost when a property doesn't fit. That builds trust so they bring you the next house special. For self-generated leads, track your experiments. Which streets keep producing realistic sellers? Which asset types turn into time sinks? Which outreach messages get callbacks? Over a few months, you'll see which recipes deserve more ingredients and which you should quietly retire. Regulations, data, and capital are all shifting under your feet. Expect AI tools to quietly scan maps like a weather radar, spotting storm-damaged roofs or wildfire-exposed blocks long before a motivated seller sign appears. Climate scores, insurance volatility, and local ordinances will start vetoing deals your spreadsheet loves. The edge won't go to the flashiest software or biggest mailing list, but to investors who can test new signals, question them, then fold the reliable ones into a repeatable search routine. As you refine your search, treat each new lead source like adding a lens to a camera. One for price distortions, one for zoning shifts, one for insurance and tax changes. Rotating through them sharpens the picture. Your challenge this week: pick one submarket and map 3 deals you'd reject for different reasons, then note the patterns they share. This was Owl Up, your daily step forward. This series continues with more chapters on owlup.co. Visit owlup.co to access the complete course and continue your learning journey. See you there!